Hello everyone, I'm the Great Flaming Mewtwo here with my good friend Zevton. Say hi.
That intro was cringy beyond comprehension.
And that wasn't hi.
And I don't want to say hi.
Anyways, we're gonna talk about the French Revolution.
The war with heads on pikes?
Yeah! The French had financial problems way before the Revolution, back in 1763 when they just lost the 7 Years' War.
7 Years' War was between the French and Great Britain, who both wanted land in North America.
Wars always cost a lot of money, so when France lost, they were hurt financially. Even though this is true, they also helped out the American colonies by giving them money for their war. Why? Because they thought America would pay them back.
Was America one of the main reasons why the French Revolution started in the first place?
There is way too much evidence supporting that, and it kind of scares me. King Louis was questionable, to say the least.
He wasn't someone you should trust to be in charge of an entire country.
Exactly. So when his father made him marry the Austrian Duchess Marie Antoinette, things went downhill fast.
You say that as if it wasn't going downhill already.
Compared to the rest of the French Revolution, it wasn't even a nudge.
Well,
Hey, no swearing in my first video. I don't want to get demonetized this early.
Fine, party pooper.
Speaking of parties, that's what the nobles always held. Fancy parties with lots of foods, exquisite clothing, and for Marie Antoinette, expensive hairdos. She really got her hair done like a boat once.
Wait, so why didn't they just give all this money to the poor? Wouldn't it solve a lot of problems?
Well, it would, but the nobles and the clergy had a reason not to give their money to the poor.
They're greedy and just wanted to keep it to themselves, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Honestly, same.
The Estates General was made up of 3 estates representatives.
The first estate was the Catholic Church. It was made up of priests, bishops, monks, etc.
The second estate was the nobles, made up of high-ranking citizens of the army, such as generals.
The third estate was everyone else, about 97% of the entire population.
Naturally, you'd assume that they would have the most influence since they held up the majority of the state, but no. They had one vote, like the other estates.
The other estates were bullying the third estate and voted together on everything.
Hey Zev, want to know what part of the timeline we're covering next?
Not really, but you're going to tell me anyway, aren't you?
Heads on pikes, heads on pikes,
No,
heads on
no,
pikes,
God,
heads on
no,
pikes,
please,
heads on
God,
pikes, heads
God's
on
when
pikes,
this happened.
heads
Do
on
the
pikes,
transition.
heads
Do
on
the
pikes.
The Bastille, a sturdy, fortified stronghold which held impressive weaponry such as shotguns and gunpowder, was a symbol of high security.
Wow. Let's tear it down.
What?
Let's tear it down brick by brick!
The Bastille held quite a lot of military supplies, making it a big target for the new revolutionaries who were mad at the government for taxing them instead of the nobility and clergy estates.
So they decided that in order to hold a revolution, they would take all the supplies and behead the military governor of the Bastille. His name, according to this day in history, not sponsored, Bernard René Jourdan de Launay. Cool name, I hope I pronounced that right. If not, sorry Bernard.
Are you really? Sorry.
No, not really.
Didn't think so. The revolutionaries succeeded in their infiltration and managed to take the supplies and behead him and the other soldiers, afterwards stabbing their heads on top of pikes and marching around with them as a sign of the start of the revolution. What? Did I read that right?
Viva la revolution!
And not again!
Some revolutionaries stayed at the Bastille to literally tear it down brick by brick until there was nothing left.
Oh, you were being serious.
Yeah. I was. This was the event that really sparked the revolutionary fire and the beginning of this craziness. The French revolutionaries rotated their government more frequently than you might think, the first being the National Assembly. They're actually the revolutionary government that stormed the Bastille, so good for them for officially starting the revolution.
The Parisian women that were a part of the National Assembly actually stormed the Palace of Versailles to capture the royal family.
And they were successful! Even when the royal family tried to escape to Austria, the revolutionaries caught them.
The Legislative Assembly, the short form of government after the National Assembly, held them in prison while they declared war on 2 of the nearby countries.
Parisia and Austria, to be exact.
Bad news for King Louis and Marie Antoinette, because they were beheaded soon after by the next form of government.
Well, that's what you get for prematurely attempting to rule over a government that was in economic distress without any experience or knowledge about the topic.
You know, you're plotting something, but I don't want to ask.
Wise decision. Continue, please.
As I will. The next government was the National Convention.
This form of government executed the king and queen and declared France a republic. They also made a new calendar and the churches closed. And the priests were being forced to marry.
Their leader was Robespierre, who was beheaded in July of 1794.
The time that he was in charge, people were being beheaded left and right when suspected of being spies from enemy countries.
Soon, the churches were reopened and the priests weren't being forced to marry anymore. Well, let's just go to the guillotine then. Napoleon was a general of the French army before he rose to power and ended the revolution, declaring himself an emperor.
He made Enlightenment-based laws and fixed the calendar, and made amends with the church. He and his army took over most of Europe until a battle with Russia called the Battle of Waterloo, where he was defeated and exiled to an island where he escaped from.
In his second attempt to take control, he was defeated again and exiled for the rest of his life.
We could go into...
You gotta learn more. You gotta learn from this.
Yes. Life lessons, kids. We could go into more detail, but that's actually a whole other topic than just the French Revolution. It's the Napoleon Wars. More wars.
We only had an hour to record this.
Yeah. We messed around the first hour. With that being said, please check out the sources we used in the description below.
Hashtag not sponsored.
And go to Zevton's channel. He does Fortnite.
I make montages, they have music.
Yeah, because music apparently makes that game less boring.
Whoa, boring.
Okay then.
Also,
check out the
Twitch and stream God Eater and Haven coming soon, probably. Okay, bye.
Check out the description and Zevton's channel. Stay tuned. Bye.